Flawsome rose behind us like a single awakened breath. Schmidt, Emdens, Ribbons, Semskis, 4 names like 4 pillars of an ancient gate. And now the gate stood open. With them, all of Flawsome stirred, a city of dust remembering its pulse. The revolution did not begin with a scream. It began with a trembling in the earth. We walked toward the main structures of the Mechans. The ground hummed softly beneath our feet, as if metal buried deep under the soil still dreamed. The clans moved with us, shadows slipping through smoke, faces sharpened by firelight and resolve. We passed through ruined gates, corridors whose walls exhaled the warmth of engines long dead. And then something broke through. Not stone, not steel. Time. A Goliath emerged, a towering war beast from a forgotten century. 6 paces tall, armor gleaming with the pale shine of a machine that had seen too many dawns. Its eyes burned like fragments of a dying star. The first blow nearly killed Carl. Kyra's curses snapped like brittle branches against its plating. My own breath felt heavy, as though the Goliath stood not before me, but inside the place where fear is born. The battle was not a fight. It was an argument between eras, between what should have remained buried and what refused to die. When the Goliath finally fell, its heart, a spinning core of pale fire, shuddered once and went dark. The dust recoiled as if mourning. We entered the Mechans' halls. Machines slept there in rows, their frames stripped and hollow, their shadows long and patient across the floor. Workbenches lay untouched for years. Half-assembled constructs rested like forgotten skeletons. Tools hung unmoving from wires and rails, swaying only when our breath disturbed the stale air. A sense of abandonment clung to everything. Not just the absence of life, but the absence of purpose. We pressed deeper. The corridors twisted, becoming narrow and uncertain, as though the temple itself wished to forget what lay at its heart. Then we found the shrine. We saw it first through a narrow window in a sealed metal door. A chamber still as breath held too long. At its center stood a capsule, a sleeper pod, the same kind dragged through Justitian by scrappers. Too similar to be coincidence, too familiar to be chance. We broke inside. The priests of the Mechans huddled around the capsule, their bodies twisted from decades spent worshipping the cold gospel of gears. Hands shaking, they cracked the pod open. The capsule hissed, opened, and something black moved out of the silence. Not smoke, not insects, not flesh. A swarm woven from hunger and unmaking. A shadow that did not belong to this world. It touched the priests and their bodies folded into themselves, melting into mutation, bone softening like wax near a flame. The chamber sang with their dissolution. We fought the swarm, but it felt like trying to hold back the end of a dream. At last, the darkness stilled. Silence returned. I fell to my knees. The god was dead. The machine god. The guiding deity they believed would lead them into the future. Gone. Not only their idols, not only their hope. Their entire direction evaporated in a single breath of black dust. When the air cleared, we searched through wreckage and ruin. The truth lay scattered around us. The star that had fallen was a shuttle. A metal coffin hurled from the sky, filled with capsules carrying things the heavens should have kept. We returned to Alexander Tauner. He listened with eyes that had seen too much. He did not smile, but something in him eased. A burden loosening its teeth. For the clans of the Remain region, peace began to bloom again. And Carl received word. The clans would join the Protectorate. Yet even as the world exhaled, something lingered in me. a tremor beneath thought, like an echo from a distant sky. And in the dark, behind my eyes, a realization surfaced. This was not the first, but it will not be the last thing that carries a capsule inside.